Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Hello and welcome to the second part of Gull'S Eye View. We actually spoke right through and forgot to do it because we were so angry and emotional about it all. So in this episode, we will be speaking about the Gary Johnson saga and his comments and all stuff like that. Thank you for watching.
It's piss poor. It's
absolutely
the whole club in general. It's just piss poor. And the fans, again, we say it every week, don't we? We deserve so much better. 802, most of them in the rain, a lot more watching at home, and it's just a circus, isn't it? The club's rotten from top to bottom at the moment. I can't see a way out. I've already accepted that we're going to be in the National League South next season. And
what did you think of Gary's comments after then, Tom?
Interesting comments, weren't they? I think it's whether he meant it in that way, I don't know, but it's so disrespectful to the fans. I mean, Gary, when he came in, he turned the club around, and that's something that we should never forget. He got us out of potentially being stuck in the mid-table of the National League South, and he brought
which we will be next season at this rate.
Yeah, but ultimately, we're back. It feels like we're in a worse position now than we were under a Gary Johnson management. It was imagine at the start of 2022, if we were saying, at the start of January 2023, we all want Gary Johnson out. We'll be, second bottom in the National League playing crap football. You just wouldn't have believed it. The decline of the club is just, in such a short time, it's just astonishing to me.
The club clearly haven't taken into account there's a chance that Gary Johnson might fail at any point of his Torquay tenure.
It very much feels like, wasn't it? It was all on Ashton Gate, all or nothing. And unfortunately, those
comments did annoy me after the game, I have to be honest. And considering we had 800 fans there, he gets a bit of jip, and then it suddenly
my opinion on it, like that, because if I had been one of you brave sods that had gone in the rain, I'd been a lot more angry.
I think I have a more overarching view on it that I've said before, and I know not everyone agrees with this personally, having been to a lot of away games down the years. I've always had an issue with managers walking away and not applauding the Torquay.
Yeah, I think it's a bare minimum.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, I'm not talking about Gary Johnson here. I've always had an issue with it. That was where Paul Buckle was so good. That's where Leroy Rossini was so good. Whatever it was, if it was victory, we'll all have a sing song, and isn't it great? But if you've got to take some stick because you performed badly or you got beaten, they took it. And
I don't think his ego can take it, Chris. I don't think his ego can take it.
But this is the thing. Aaron Downs, time and again, stands there taking it.
Yeah, and that's wrong. He shouldn't be taking it.
No, I agree.
And that's the one thing I have full respect for Kevin Nicholson under his tenure. Yeah, we had some major thrashings. I went to so many away games, we got thrashed, and all the stick that him and the squad got, he was always there at the front clapping the fans.
But clapping the fans is not about the result. Actually,
clapping the fans are saying thank you for standing in the pouring rain. It's
not absolutely
the club's second from bottom and making the effort to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not
football without fans is nothing. If you lose the fans, then what have you got? You just got.
It does feel like to me he's trying to squirm away a little bit from the blame. He doesn't want to be accountable. I feel like he's coming towards his retirement now and doesn't really want this on his copy.
But in fairness,
to be known as that manager achieved a lot. I don't want this to be about me. I want to just squirm away a little bit, and
But in fairness, he can't put the ball in the net.
I'm not saying it was
responsible for the recruitment, of course.
But he signed a lot of idiots who can't. Not idiots, but you know what I mean. He signed a lot of players who aren't up to standard. Is a nice way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and they're not improving either. This is the thing I've been saying for ages. I just don't see an improvement with the majority of the squad that we've got. And he's had 2 years now where he's been able to bring his own players in, where he's had a whole summer to do so. Granted, the budget may be cut. Obviously, we don't know how much.
There's cut budgets,
and then there's I refuse to believe we've got one of the worst budgets in the National League.
I agree.
I'm confident we've got
more than Nicholson had.
Yeah, probably more than Nicholson had. But I think it's a disgraceful comment
quite a bit of money as well at times.
I expect so much better from Gary in that situation.
That's loyalty, and I mean the support this season has probably been better than we've ever
I-
had, considering the position in the league.
The thing that for me the most is, to me, it's tarnishing his legacy at Torquay United.
He should have gone in the summer. I'm going to say it now. It's so easy to say in hindsight. But a couple of times I just felt like last season was the end of an era, had to go one the other way. You stick for and build another era, which he's trying and failing to do. Fair enough. Or you just go, right, I've had my time. We were robbed. I've won the National League South. We'll turn your club around. If you want for referee, I've got you in the Football League. People remember Gary Johnson for that. We had a good, in the end, I enjoyed last season by the end of it. It was a disaster for first half, but, thought, a lot of things haven't gone right. Giving it a good go. We still had some fun around April and we smashed County and beat Woking. We had a bit of a nice time near the end of the season. And it's like, right.
I think as much as anything, regardless of whether you think his comments will, whatever his comments, the reality is it's just not a good idea. Now is not a time to start alienating the supporters, is it? It really isn't.
Because if they get pushed at the moment, Chris, they just won't turn up.
Well, and that's the thing.
If you're going to play that game on Saturday, they ain't going to turn up, Gary. Don't
need
try
them
and
on your
say,
side.
you're not supporting us. Well, I'm not going to come on Saturday.
The
ironic thing about it as well is that comment that he made. The irony about the comment, when you dissect it, is he's saying you're either with us or against us. You've got to choose. Well, quite frankly, it's really hard work at the moment watching games. So actually, if you're going to make people choose,
we support the
club. They're not going to choose not to go, and that's what you're asking, and it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
we will always support the club.
We don't support individuals.
That doesn't mean we have to say he's the best manager ever constantly, because that's clearly not true at the moment. He's not earned his stripes.
No, managers, players, they'll all come and go, but the fans will be there for a lifetime.
And you can't tell me that I know it don't matter that he's been paid like the least in this league either. So if you're being paid to do a job and you're underperforming, going to be criticised. I'm not saying there was anything I wasn't there. When I do feel for managers who are under pressure and there's abuse, never tolerate abuse. I'm just thinking of that Forest Green clip, which really shouldn't be funny when you've got the one negative fan with Birchnell and the positive fan. But I just think of that.
But again, it's worth noting.
It's different,
And again, there was one. Again, I was in the seats at the side, and there was one guy who was stood up quite vociferously saying it after the second goal, and there were a few people. What's interesting again, straight away, several people turning round on him and said, "Oh, sit down, mate. All right, on your own, mate. All right." Straight away, no.
So that's 2 or 3 out of 800, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I was saying it in my dressing room, but that was it at the moment.
There was a section of the vocal group in the terrace.
Yeah.
And you could hear it quite loudly at that point. But it wasn't prolonged. It was for 10, 15 seconds when it was 2-0. It wasn't all game.
We are tame, Chris, aren't we? I mean, some fan bases have gone absolutely mental.
Yeah, no, we are. We do. I think it's just we all think Lord Gary Johnson. It's almost like that, and we're all a bit scared of being seen as one of them. But I think it's just a fan base. We do accept a lot more rubbish than others.
I'll give you another stat now, if you like, Mark.
Oh, no. Is it better than the last ones?
10 games in charge of Yeovil Town, only 1 loss. And now, how far ahead of us in the table?
When he got appointed, my mind went, is he even a good manager? And I'm like, no, this is what he's done. With a Yeovil team that was in the bottom 4. Oh, a manager improving a team. It happens.
This is a Yeovil club that barely have any ownership of any note sorted out, but they could still get somebody who could take them up the league a bit. So,
I suppose you could argue Scunthorpe's at their manager, and they've not really turned it around. Are we too far gone already?
Scunthorpe's just got a curse of them. They're just doomed, whatever they do.
And I'll also say, blame has to go on the owners as well.
Yeah.
Of course, Gary's going to get the flack, and deservedly so. But let's not forget we've got owners who, I don't know what their end game is. I mean, the amount of money the club's losing. I just don't. We had a 5-year plan, didn't we, under Owers, didn't we, when GI first came in? Where are we going? We're heading to the National League South. And to be honest, I think if we do go back to the National League South, I think we'll be like Kidderminster in the north. I think we're going to be stuck there for quite a long time.
The only goodness.
Are we accepting relegation this year?
There's too many people.
I want to see some fight out of this lot, but we're not seeing it, are we, Tom?
Yeah, there's too many people at this club that are happy to accept failure, and they're part of the problem. players, some of the supporters.
You
Sorry,
need,
but
you need
if you're
a winning
happy,
mentality. You need a
if
winning
you are
mentality.
happy that we are 23rd in the National League with 4 wins all season after 25 games, your head's gone.
Or you're accepting it. And this club was in League One. That was it in 1991. I saw it on. I know we've been in League Two most of our history, but that is an example of what this club is. I know people my age have had a lot of this talking being crap. I mean, everyone has, but you were bad in League Two and the fourth division back then.
Somebody on Twitter remarked that we were a yo-yo club between the conference and the non-league south now, and just to accept it. I refuse to accept that. That is absolute hogwash. I can't believe he said that. We still get to over 2,000 fans each week, not depending on how we're doing. We had 800 there the other day. We are still a decent-sized club for a national
should be around
league.
the football league.
We might not have the most money, but we should still be doing a lot better
or
than
top of
that.
National League. We should be top of National League or near the bottom of League Two.
You know what the funny thing is? A few weeks ago, everyone was saying, "Oh, there's talk about a third promotion spot in the National League. Oh, we've got a chance." Yeah, that's it. Still a National League club come the end of the season.
Whoever is in charge, I'll say it now. Whoever's in charge, if this club stays up this season, incredible job, because that is one hell of a turnaround. Even if it is Johnson who's put us probably in this mess in the first place, you've done brilliantly. And if he does keep us up, brilliant. Leave it in the season. We'll say well done for keeping us up, even though it's your mess. But I do not see how this is just the same as Owen's season, because we are around the same position as well with Owen's right now. Then we had a tough January. We got smacked in every game, and we were completely cut off. And we had Tom, Dick, and Harry turning up. Is that the saying? I don't know. Everyone turning up on loan, and then we're thinking, who's playing this week? Who's playing that? And even though we had a good team in the end, it wasn't coached because Owen's was an awful manager. It was a decent team. Think of Reece Healy and players like that. He was down, Durrell and goal and all stuff like that. And he was down with no hope. And it's just the same season. It's the same as the Neil and Hargreaves season. Yeah, we're there all around. Yeah. Oh, we've lost again. We might get a loaner. Yeah, we showed promise for 45 minutes in that game. Late equaliser. It's just, I can't believe people are sat there going,
I think it's the closeness of games, isn't it? It's making people think, right, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're going to find those wins.
We're not.
We're going to keep finding them.
No.
But we are 23rd. We
Look
are where
at
we
Maguire,
are. We deserve to be there. So
look at Maguire Drew. We used to have 11 of his ability in a team 2 years ago.
All this talk about Maguire Drew is wound me up a little bit. If you look about it, what did he do at Plainmoor?
But
he saw the pass for the goal.
No,
he wasn't in the game at Yeovil at all. Yes, he's a good footballer. Yes, to have him I'd have him in my side, crikey. But he's not. He didn't run both games, dominated and run rings around.
He was great for us, but he provided those moments.
He gives you a bit of hope.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But in terms of what a player he's dominated the game. He didn't at all. He didn't run it.
Well, even better example then. We have better players than Maguire Drew, because Whitfield incredible on his day. Think about team. That doesn't just happen in 2 years. You might get a bit worse. Players come, players go. We lose players. But this is shambolic. We've got Southern Premier League standard players. We've got Vanarama South standard players. We let go of Vanarama South players at the end of last season, and they would walk into this bloody team, I reckon.
What I think, and clearly I don't expect what I'm saying is true. And, we sit here and talk about it. We talk about it as fans every week. But I do wonder if they understand, maybe. And maybe I don't know if any players watch this. I'm sure they don't. But if they do players understand what it means to people like us, to the supporters, and what relegation would actually mean to part-time football? Because some of these people really need. You get the feeling that some of them are young lads, of course they are, but some of them have really got to switch on and understand what this would mean.
They probably think we've been there before.
Christ,
we've been there 3 or 4 years ago. No, this is a disaster. When you're in the North Conference North, it's a disaster. You get relegated into a league that still has some good teams in, because it's hard to get out again. When you are a Torquay United Football Club, which has been in the 3rd and 4th tier, and no offence to the clubs I'm going to list, but when you go as the only full-time, I don't know if they have full-time, basically the only full league, ex-football league club in there, playing against teams who everyone, oh my God, we're playing Torquay United. Again, great clubs. I'm not having a go at them.
We were everyone's cup final, weren't we?
We're everyone's cup final. Yeah. You don't understand the gap between Torquay United and that. And it's just it's embarrassing enough when we get turned over by part-time teams who work a lot harder and are technically probably better than us for years in the National League. We've had so many examples. But to go into a full, basically majority part-time division with these clubs who are just like, oh my God, we're playing the same. It's
Yeah, but there's a few clubs
embarrassing.
now in
They'll beat us.
the National League South who are full time now.
We go
So
down with
it's
this
even
mentality
harder.
and this attitude. We are going nowhere out of the South. Everyone goes, "Oh, the South was fun." It's because Gary Johnston inserted the mentality that we've lost.
Yeah,
Football is
which
only
is
fun when you're
easy
winning
to do.
games.
Yeah, it was very fun when you're going to these teams. It was horrible when we lose them 1-0 at home to Hemel Hempstead, didn't we lose? We lost to Hampton at home, as Tom will remember. We lost all this thing. We lost away to Gloucester, fourth game, something like that. It was not fun then. I'm telling
Do you
you.
remember? Did any of you go to the first game of the season at Chelmsford?
No.
My God.
God, it was hot that day.
That was such a
Boiling.
That was such a wow. How far have we fallen?
Terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh Christ! And we played crap that day as well.
I remember
35 degrees
I remember
as well,
the Hampton
didn't it?
game.
But I mean, sorry, Dom.
The
I'm gonna
moral
say
is to not assume that we'd come straight back up,
Yeah.
isn't it?
and I
And
don't
that's the
think we will.
situation. We need to
I don't-
panic and stay
It was
up.
only
We
'cause-
can't afford to
and
just go
this is the
down,
point.
and then we could stay down.
So one more
And
point
stop
about-
talking about the National League South now.
Yeah, one thing about the Gary Johnson thing as well, right? So you've got a manager's ability, right? Imagine it's like a video, and we've got ability rating. This is Gary Johnson's ability rating. Just because he has good ability, doesn't mean you can use it now. My point is, eras happen. It doesn't matter how good a manager you are. As soon as you lose that trajectory and you lose that influence, and you run out of ideas and you run out of contacts, and it all goes a bit wrong, it doesn't matter how good Gary Johnson has in his career. It's finished. That's why the manager doesn't stay at a club for 30 years. Look at the Yeovil. He with amazing stuff going up on 2 spells. Look how much he started going down when he got sacked.
I think running out of context is important, Sam, because I think he has. I think he's struggled to get players. He's struggled to get the right people in.
Yeah.
I don't think people necessarily want their players to come to Torquay either. So.
No anymore. Cheltenham, he built a whole amazing job, took them up. Was it the first season in League Two he got sacked?
First season back, they struggled. They were in a relegation battle.
All of a sudden, they're going, "Oh, I hate Johnson." And all their fans were warning us. Things happen. Look at every club. I'll do my Leicester thing. Brendan Rodgers at Leicester, good coach. Look where it's gone wrong in this season. Many examples. Klopp, Liverpool. I know it's really far-fetched one. Things have eras. Stop saying, "Oh, he's going to." We all, when he signed his players, we sat on this channel and we went, "Oh, Brett McGavin, Ipswich. He must be good. Gary Johnson sort him out. If he's not quite good, they'll sort him out." Even though last season it was a disaster, we're giving the benefit of the doubt. It's a Johnson team. We're going to be up there this season. He's lost his magic. What are we sat around waiting for it just to all come back? It's tired. Yeah. It's not a thing on Gary Johnson's thing. It's just the era's over. The Gary Johnson Downs era seems to be over. I'm not ruling them out.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it seems to be over and they're out of ideas. That's fine. Should have gone a long time ago.
But you can't live on past glories, can you? You have to live in the now.
If someone comes in now, the alternative to Gary Johnson as a counter argument is bleak, because I have no idea. And even if they do come in, it's starting to become way too late.
Yeah. And again, when we've talked about the owners before, and I'm not going to, we all know the ownership situation is complicated and, probably not what most people want. But as I said, again, there's got to be, it's all well and good complaining about the owners and saying, get out of our club and all of that, which a lot of people do. And I get it. I understand why. But there has to be an option. Where's the option? The club's not up for sale. There isn't a millionaire supporter. We've had a supporter win the lottery and pump the club full of money before.
We've had our one lucky
We
chance,
almost need that before. But there has to be. It's fine to moan about the owners. That's fine, but there has to be an option. You can't moan about them when there's no option. Think how much money of his own money he has lost in his club.
Yeah. If we had the option of 2007 again, where we've got investors coming in, local people who care passionately about the club, and all that lot, you jump for it, wouldn't you? There's nothing.
I'm writing music.
Yeah, but you can't run a football club on goodwill. You cannot run a football club. Right. We tried that, and it didn't. You can't. A football club runs on money, and you have to have somebody with money.
Yeah,
and lots of loans, and someone who basically goes, "I'm going to lose a few million." He'll be fine on it.
But that's what he's done.
Yeah,
that's what Clark Osborne has done.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
None of us understand why.
It's not his money though, is it? He's racking up the loan debt. They're sensible, these people.
But what's he losing? £2 million a year, is it?
Well, the club is, but isn't that owed back to him? I'd have to find out more. And I don't know enough, of course. But I know what you mean.
Ownership debate is a different debate.
If someone comes in, they've probably got to pay off that debt in installments for 20, 30 years. Or if they're got minted millions, they pay it off straight away. And you've got a club that doesn't actually earn money, a club in a bad location still. All the problems that I know they're doing it for con reasons, but the reasons are still correct. The Playmore doesn't earn money. So But this is happening
It's
in every club. What was it? Notts, did I read it right? Notts County have lost 14 million, or they owe 14. They lost 2 million in a season or something. Did I read that right?
Look at Southend.
Mm,
Southend
yeah.
are a good example, aren't they?
Every club.
But you don't buy a football club to make money. You don't. It's not business.
I mean, the
venture.
Notts
You don't.
County people are just writing it off because they think they can take them up the leagues and make something.
It's like the only club
got-
that's slightly
They've got
sustainable.
27,000,
Yeah, but if you're Notts
grounds,
County
so
in
they're looking
Stockport
at
and you're
long-term,
getting
aren't they?
9,000-10,000 a week, you still have a little bit of a chance. We do brilliantly in our location, but we're only going max 2,000 or 3,000.
But the Southend owner said yesterday, didn't he? The only way to wipe out their debt is to get promoted. The only way that they can, because they're losing £2 million a season. The only way to wipe that out and get them into a positive is to get promoted. Because
it's for a conversation for a different day, but there's got to be conversations had of how these football clubs from League
How do they
One
operate?
down, really, any football club.
You'd have to know,
And again-
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
And
how do
again,
you, how
we've
do you
been
do
saying
it?
we've been saying it, haven't we? Like, do you give Gary money, or do you put the money in to sack him, or like, what's worse, getting relegated into the National League South and losing a lot more money because you ain't going to get much.
He's brought in about 15 players in the summer, let's face it. He said all of them were worth having, they're worth signing. He said, I'm happy with the owners, I'm happy with the support. Yeah, it's got to come back to him again, doesn't it?
I don't trust him to sign players now. I don't trust him to sign
I'd
players.
rather have different owners, but he's got to come back to him.
Gary, if you're going to question our support, mate, talky talk going to be at every game and every game going forward from today. You know, I'm already planning Gateshead away in March. Borehamwood away at the end of the month's already sorted.
You don't even live in
Don't question our loyalty, mate.
Yeah,
the irony is,
We've
the day
watched this
before we
shite
made
for
that
years.
comment, I booked a hotel in Dorking.
I want to go
Oh,
Dorking.
yeah, the-
I want to
Oh,
go
yeah.
Dorking. I want to see
Oh,
my
yeah,
white
yeah,
again. I want to
And I
get a
thought,
bunch of
how
sandwiches.
rude.
2 questions. Basically, Dom retweeted something that said, "Who you can pick one of your club's legends to come out of retirement and play for the rest of the season in their prime. Who are you taking?"
Just one.
David Graham.
I'll list some names. Rodney from people. Thanks for applying in advance. Rodney Jack,
Oh yeah.
David Graham, Alex Russell, Rodney Jack, Chris Hargreaves, Rennie Howe, Rodney Jack, Alex Russell, Kevin Hill, Rodney Jack, Alex Russell, Sharp, Ward, Seals, Ewan O'Kane,
Sharp. James Sharp.
Lee Sharp.
Lee Sharp,
Oh, Lee Sharp. James Sharp, a centre back. Are you going to keep us up?
Dubs,
Crikey. I know. I saw who that was as well.
Make Ali Omar look quick.
and Neville.
Uh,
And what another one says, Steve says, one isn't enough, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree, Steve. But
well,
There's always
yeah.
one,
So
isn't
basically, it was
there?
a crap poll,
Yeah.
fundamentally.
If I ask for one wish, I wish for more wishes.
it's a good question, actually. Who would actually help this team? I'm always going to go Tim Seals, is my favourite, but we wouldn't get the good crosses in for him, would we?
Dylan De Silva won't
Yeah.
find him.
Yeah.
One player's not.
After which game you're asking, actually. After Boxing Day, I'd have said maybe midfielder. After New Year's Day, I might have said a striker. So it depends
Right,
on
let's
the
do
type
it.
of match we play.
I'll just say Seals still, because at least we can go there, aim it for him.
You need somebody with a bit of magic in their boots, which is what was so good about David Graham. David Graham found
That's true. We need
goal
someone who can
out
make their
certain
own chances,
situations. You
actually.
need somebody who from nowhere would score a goal. I think about that goal against Hull, where you think he'll score from there. Oh no, he just has. You know, somebody who's just gonna
Armani
produce a bit of
Little.
something. Yeah, well, yeah,
It's
something like
actually a
that.
good shout to
Yeah.
Roscoe
I would
Descent.
have said Ewan O'Kane, 100%.
Yeah, I think
Man,
Ewan's
that boy,
up there,
that was special, wasn't he? You could tell he was going to be
Bit of
destined.
magic in his
I
boots.
just want to say injury-prone ones or ones that didn't work. Rory Fallon, Guy Gabanu.
Mickey Evans. Oh,
I
saw Mickey Evans only goal
You
for
need a crazy
Torquay. It went
player,
very
don't we?
great header. It was.
Who was our defender that said we had to make Torquay disgusting, and he turned out to be like one of the worst
Exodus
defenders?
Skagerhan.
That's
Yeah.
it. Oh my
Brilliant.
goodness!
And he was there for his long throws, and it
He had a good throw, yeah.
didn't go anywhere. Though, did it?
Couldn't defend for Toffee, but he had a great long throw.
Yeah, and this manager Gary Johnson says we need to question our loyalty. Have you seen the shite we've watched for years, mate? Honestly,
You've taken this question in opposite direction.
yeah. Ewan O'Kane. We're
Picking
correct to
out your
say
worst
it's
players.
like Ewan O'Kane. That's a lot of good shouts.
I'd say Tim Seals. I don't know why. I'm not
So,
sure really.
Score
Even Chris
goals, isn't it?
Hargreaves in his pomp first
But
year of that.
I
bit
think
of that.
it's
Kevin
interesting.
Nicholson.
Sills and Hargreaves were players you could relate to, they weren't they? Because they gave it
Oh,
everything. It mattered.
Yeah.
They cared. It was all about winning.
They were,
And that, as I
they
said,
were
I don't know. Do
Torquay
you get that feel
players,
right
weren't
now?
they? They were like, they really understand the club. They weren't technically the best. Hargreaves was on his dash.
I love Chris Hargreaves because he was about 35 when we were all going, how much energy does he have in his tank? Bloody hell, he was everywhere, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Around the
Nicholson's
ground,
left foot in that season.
Very rarely
really
injured
cared.
as well, Hargreaves.
Yeah.
Very rarely injured, wasn't he?
I love that. That's that.
He barely walked for days after games, but we very rarely
group,
missed games.
that group of players, that era. I struggled.
They had a lot of heart, didn't they? A
So
lot of
much heart.
relatable players you could just, really understand, and they had so much passion and fight for the team. Yeah, they were proper players, weren't they?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. We've also had a poll. Now, in the you could tell it's my first day back at work because I was hoping them lot would carry on speaking for a minute whilst I try and find the results. I think we remember it though, wasn't it? 80% you said Gary Johnson out around that, wasn't it? About 300 votes.
Seems to be every week now, doesn't it? We're having a poll about Gary Johnson.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Oh, we've covered it really already. It's sort of, for me, I know it sounds stupid, but it goes a bit past that because there's so many more things. But
it's about winning games of football.
Yeah, it's win games football.
If we win the next game of football, should be abusive towards Gary, should they? Because
never be abusive though. That's one thing I will say.
Because he is trying his best, for all this.
One thing is criticising. I know it's emotional sport, and I'm not saying any of you are, but don't say it and call him a whatever. Like that's just not what we do. What anyone should do. But yeah, also.
Yeah, I mean, I said it after Yeovil, 4 wins out of 25. What other club would allow a manager to continue in that situation?
Criticise him though. That is horrific. Right, the poll says 74% of. God, we have 336 votes. 74% said he should go. 74.4 and 25.6 said no. Still got a decent backing. I know
he has when the net feels like it's been closing. We've had this. He's found a way of finding a result, hasn't he? Like the Derby game and the Aldershot game, and then Dagenham. So it almost feels like we're kind of hopefully Saturday we might turn up and win and just give him another little kind of stay of execution.
It's kind of also like just start winning in spite of all of us that are saying that his time's up. I don't care. I just want to see my football club win.
But we've got 3 home games coming up. 1 in the cup, 2 in the league.
I'm fed up of pretending that he's some sort of thing that can't be untouched. No one should be untouchable.
We're just full of ifs and buts and maybes this season. I feel like I've said those words 100 times this year.
Last season had times where we think, and you start to see the cracks of it, and you think, maybe it has come into an end. And this season, if it was any other manager, anyone, we would be at the door, honestly, and much more than this. So much more than this. Like, I do think sometimes, not brainwashed, that's not a harsh way of saying it, but I do think we've all got, oh God, if Gary Johnson's doing this, no one can do better. I think someone else, fresh ideas, not as good manager, someone who's not as good manager as Gary Johnson, could have had a much more successful.
Yeah.
And the thing that will be annoying is we sat Johnson now, we got someone who's not obviously is set up to fail in a work, not got the experience, is probably all we can afford. And then we go down and it'd be rubbish in the south here and we're going, be careful what you wish for. Well, we're going that way anyway. And
this is the thing,
we're 23rd in the National League.
If you make a change now and you bring in a young manager and we do go down anyway, but whoever you bring in, can it be any worse than right now?
No.
I just don't have.
With clubs finished, like if we go to the south, I seriously fear what on earth's going to happen to the club, and we're going right to the south as it happens. So,
I honestly think Gary's past it, and he's brought these players in again. Doesn't know how to get the best out of them. They're complete dross. The tactics aren't working. I just think it needs a fresh set of eyes. I really do. But again, I can understand why some people don't want to get rid of him because who would you bring in? And it's that unknown.
So predictions for Saturday then?
What's the crowd going to be? The crowd reaction will be very interesting on Saturday.
It will.
Especially if he's still there, which, I guess they're talking about bringing signings in, aren't they? So I guess the stance is we carry on with Gary.
The signings will dictate the crowd a bit, I think. If we get a couple of players who people think, right, okay, that's worth investing in, we might actually go. So that might help. But if we can get anybody that's worthwhile, that's another thing.
And
he's obviously got a few on his list, doesn't he? So it's what he can bring in.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find 4 or 5 players who are ready now, just get some results together, fine, get to the end of the season, review all the end of the season. But unless that happens, I seriously don't see anything changing. My prediction 2-1 Halifax.
I'm going to go Torquay 1, FC Halifax Town 3.
Yeah, I mean, my first instinct is 1-2. Yeah, 1-2, 2-1 to Halifax.
You're all miserable.
Come on, Chris. Don't let the team down.
No, you would say you'd be a fool to predict anything other than us not winning games at the moment. But I'm an eternal optimist, and we did play. What we've got to do is start finishing these chances, and if we start finishing, play the same and start finishing opportunities, we can win it. A couple of new players might just do that. I think we are going to win 2-1.
What have you been drinking? Blimey.
No, well,
can I have some of what you're drinking?
it's just water, I promise you. But yeah,
I think we can probably say we won't get thrashed, Chris, don't we? It's just, can we find that important goal when we need it? Can we just win, get over the line?
Can we get the first goal and then the second goal?
Yeah, it would be big a win on Saturday, but we've had so many chances to do it.
I messaged Luke, the guy who does the Halifax podcast on YouTube, and he said it would be typical if they went down there and they got beat by us. That would just be something that they would do. So, but I just can't see it. I can't see it. They had a really poor start as well, didn't they? And they've turned a corner. And
they're the team we were hoping we were going to be, aren't they?
Yes,
they're not thrashing anyone, are they? They're not thrashing anyone.
No, but
I was just looking at the table, actually. I was just kind of catch up, because if I'm honest, national table's not something I've been studying. No, that is interesting, Halifax season. But again, like, they had that terrible start, but they have still recovered. Yeah. Did they change their manager? No, they got a new one this season, didn't they? Because
they got a new one this season.
Yeah, I remember that.
They've kind of discovered who they are as a team as they've gone along, which is what we were hoping Torquay were going to be like this season.
Yeah, I'm just looking
at a bit of rhythm, bit of consistency, but not to be.
I'll make a prediction now. There'll be 1,700 there. I don't think we'll break 2,000.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. I don't think it was the biggest marketing employee, what he said.
And I tell you what, a defeat against Halifax, what's the crowd going to be for the trophy game against Taunton? They might have more fans than we will.
Might do this, right?
But that might be the protest moment. You know, the football's crap. Why am I bothering anymore?
And it's about when not being a customer, being a fan, not a customer. I feel a customer in every sense.
And not that I'm saying that you should boycott games. You know, again, the thing about football is you have to stick with your team, whether you're winning all the time or losing. You can have a moan about it like we do on a weekly basis, but I do fear that could be a real
embarrassment in many ways.
Actually, embarrassing moment. I thought the crowd in the first round of the trophy was probably quite good, considering
I did as well.
Where we were.
I didn't think we get 500. So
yeah, I thought the crowd was all right. But yeah, let's win on Saturday. And then the crowd will be much better the week after.
There's your positive to end. As I'm sat on a chair, zoning out, worrying about Conference South football again. Right.
For all the criticism, we desperately want them to win still. Whoever's in charge, we're back in this club.
We don't really need to prove that, really.
Just win that.
Win a game of football. Do what you're paid to do for once. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed these episodes. Thank you for joining me. Make sure to check out Galaxy TQ. Go there. Lovely place. Thank you for sponsoring as per usual. And yeah, see you next week.
Here's Hargreaves. Chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Banyan. Sells.